Okay, our next speaker is Florence Wallemacq from the Indian Ocean Commission for SmartFish program, operating in Mauritius. Florence is an FAO outreach consultant working for the Commission in the SmartFish program since 2013. So we'll move away from big grain farmers to maritime farmers. Please welcome Florence.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. So today I am going to present support from the SmartFish program in Madagascar on the Scylla serrata crab value chain in Madagascar. The SmartFish program is the short name for the program for the implementation of a regional fishery strategy for the Eastern and Southern Africa and Indian Ocean regions. It's a program that is funded by the European Union. It is implemented by the Indian Ocean Commission and co-implemented by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. The SmartFish program operates in 20 countries, and it focuses on 5 components: fisheries management, fisheries governance, monitoring, control and surveillance, trade, and food security. The post-harvest losses work that we do through the SmartFish program is mainly implemented under results 4 and 5, trade and food security. The program is using a 3-step approach to post-harvest losses. The first step is to understand the losses by assessing where the losses occur and performing value chain analysis from the net to the plate. The second step is to define, based on the results of the analysis, to define concrete loss reductions, actions, and test them and make research to ensure they can properly be used. And once these actions have been defined and have proven their efficiency, the third step is to raise awareness amongst the population or the public sector on these identified actions. We have been working with this approach in several countries: Zambia, Malawi, Rwanda, Kenya, Djibouti, but today I am going to speak about Madagascar. So the mud crab, or Scylla serrata crab fishery in Madagascar is characterized by the following specificities. The natural habitat of the crab is the mangrove forests, and the mangrove forests are often in remote and difficult to access areas. It is a mainly traditional and artisanal fishing activity, and the fishermen are using very simple fishing techniques such as hooks and sticks. And they don't have really proper storage or transport equipment. The crab, the mangrove crab, is a very fragile species. It's sensitive to the wind, to the sun, to the rain, to the cold. And once the crab is dead, it is toxic. You cannot consume it anymore. We estimate that in Madagascar, 80,000 people are involved in the crab collection. Recently, for the past few years, a very, very high demand on the international market, mainly the Asiatic one, has been noticed for the export of crab from Madagascar. And this has led to some consequences and pressure on the fishery. The starting point for the work of SmartFish on the crab value chain was a value chain analysis from the net to the plate to analyze where the losses actually occur. So we identified critical points. The most critical points are at the village storage and during the transportation of the crab. On average, the cumulated mortality rates reaches 32%, which is more or less 1,300 tons of crabs that are lost per year. However, these figures need to be tempered because there is a big seasonal influence. For example, during the rainy season, the losses can go up to 50%. So based on the results of this analysis, the Fishery Ministry of Madagascar set the objective together with SmartFish and asked the support of SmartFish to reduce losses by 1/3 before the end of this year, before the end of 2015. I forgot to mention that this value chain analysis took place in 2012. So to do so and to reach the objective, what we did is we hired some crab specialists and we collaborated directly with all the crab stakeholders, fishermen, wholesalers, collectors, but also the sellers. And all together, they researched a low-cost and simple technical solution using locally available material that would be efficient to reduce the losses in the crab value chain. This work resulted in the selection of a series of innovations, and I will give you a brief overview of some of these innovations now. At the stage of harvesting, traditionally, a hook is used on a stick. So not only it would hurt the crab, but it would also damage the mangrove and the roots of the mangrove trees. So one solution that has been identified and proposed is to use traps with sufficient mesh size to ensure that the small crab, the baby crab, could escape from the mesh, from the trap, and to ensure that the big enough crab would remain and be caught. Another harvesting technique is to use a trap balance. So the balance would be plunged in the water and the crab would go on the balance, and then the balance would be taken up by the fishermen, and that way the mangrove trees are not damaged, or at least less damaged. At the stage of the storage, either in the village, in the camp, or in the collection places, traditionally there is no really proper allocated space to store the crabs. So as I said earlier, the crab is very sensitive to wind, to rain, to sun, to the cold. So by putting them in a basket with mud, covered with mud and with salted water, it would preserve the crab and it would reduce the losses of crab. A bit more elaborated solution, but still simple, is the constructions of roofs to protect the crabs against the wind and the sun, or water pens so that the crabs would remain in the water and the tide would cover the crabs according to the tides. At the stage of transportation, traditionally the crabs are just put in a basket and are layered, so it would crush the crabs and they would die. Most of them would die. So just by putting the crabs in boxes, wooden boxes or plastic boxes, it would allow to layer them without crushing them. Or if there is no option for boxes, constructing some shelves would allow the baskets to be transported without crushing the crabs. So as you can see, these are very simple techniques, but they really can make a difference. In fact, the impacts of all these innovations were measured, and all of them could result in major reduction of post-harvest losses, all the interventions identified. The amortization period was also calculated because we could not present some innovations without presenting also how long it would take to be amortized. So the maximum period of amortization is 4 months. It is for the upgrading of carts by putting shelves in the carts. So based on these results, we developed campaign material and we developed an awareness-raising campaign. The sensitization material we developed is quite important. We developed a guide, an illustrated guide in Malagasy language, also in French, but in Malagasy and illustrated so that people that cannot read could still understand. The manual would present all the innovations, how to build them, why is it important, why can it make a difference, and how much it would cost and how long it would take to be amortized. The investment would take to be amortized. We also did some technical posters, laminated technical posters, so they would be put in the villages or at the collection centers. And for the women, we produced some loincloth with the illustration as well. Other material that were recently produced is a training video of 40 minutes that would explain all the innovations and how to build them. That would actually take all the content of the manual guide. And we also did a comic strip for the children because one target of the campaign is also the children and the young generation. So with all these we also set up demonstration and exhibition material so that during the campaign we could show and demonstrate how to build it concretely and how it works and how it can make a real difference. And we also participated in some major events in Madagascar and some fairs to show these innovations. So the implementation of the campaign lasted for several months. It was implemented in collaboration with a local Malagasy NGO, FanWatch, for the operational support. And so the campaign comprised several components. Workshops were organized, and 3 mobile demonstration units were set up. And they would travel, because the workshops took place in some coastal towns. But as I said, the villages are often in remote areas. So to complete and to reach really the communities and the population, the mobile demonstration units toured in a lot of villages to broaden and expand the vulgarization. They would arrive in a village, they would make a video session to stream the video, and they would have also a session with the children, they would distribute the comics, etc. Back to back, some radio programs were also diffused at the same time that the campaign would tour. Back to back, a national competition was organized to encourage the population to seek for more other simple innovations that could make a difference. And finally, some crab markets were either constructed or rehabilitated. The impact of the campaign is the following. 80 villages were visited in 7 regions of the west coast of Madagascar. It's estimated that 5,000 fishermen or people benefited directly from the campaign and more than the double indirectly. 1,000 children received the comics, and for the competition, 114 participants submitted a proposal, and 14 of those are children. So the lessons learned of this support from the SmartFish program is that the value chain and from the net to the plate approach really can make a difference, because that way we can understand where the losses occur and at which stage, and we can tackle the issues more specifically. The market dynamics have a big influence, so it is extremely important to include the private sector, even the small private sector, to contribute to the solutions. Only if we can prove the financial benefit and profitability, we can ensure that the innovation and the adoption of the best practices are ensured. It's the best incentive. The young generation has proven to be extremely involved and even more involved than their parents sometimes in the research of solutions. They are tomorrow's crab fishermen, so it's very positive to have them on board too. And of course, last but not least, the government plays a huge role, so it was extremely important for SmartFish to work together with the Ministry of Fisheries. So as a brief conclusion and some way forward, currently a post-intervention survey is on progress, so we can measure if yes or not we managed to reach the reduction of 1/3. All the results of the campaign and of the survey will be presented during a national restitution workshop involving public and private sector. The government is very ambitious. In Madagascar, they would like to reach a mortality rate below 10% by the end of 2017. Unfortunately, SmartFish support is going to end after the restitution workshop because it's the end of our activities on the post-harvest losses in the crab value chain. So fundraising needs to continue to keep the efforts. Some synergies could be built with the small-scale fisheries guidelines implementation because the Chapter 7 of these voluntary guidelines are about post-harvest losses. And finally, there is a potential to adapt the material for other countries where there is a crab fishery and where similar problems exist. So thank you for your attention. I would like to say that all our publications, including the value chain analysis and the technical manual, are available both on IOC and the FAO website. I have some copies with me for those of who are interested. I also would like to thank you, the organizers who allowed SmartFish to be present today. And last but not least, I would like to thank you, my colleagues and former colleagues who helped me for the presentation and the abstract. Thank you.
Okay, I guess we're running a little late, so we'll hold off questions for Florence until after the session. We have a 4 o'clock panel here that starts up. We started the session a little bit late, and we still have one more talk. So at this point, I'd like to invite our next speaker to the podium. This is a presentation